Today we will learn about the Government of India Act 1919, which is also known as Montagu-Chelmsford Reforms or Montford Reforms. The main reason behind this act was a constitutional reform scheme which was put forth by Edwin Montagu, the then Secretary of State, and Lord Chelmsford, the then Viceroy. Bicameralism or two houses were created at the central legislature. First of them was Lower House, now Lok Sabha or Legislative Assembly, which contains 145 members. Second was Upper House, now Rajya Sabha or Council of States, which contains 60 members. The members of Lower House had tenure of 3 years, while the tenure of members belonged to Upper House was 5 years. Under this act, the provincial councils were renamed as legislative councils, and the governor became the executive head of the provincial government. He could exercise veto over the council, while the Governor General was the chief executive authority at central government level. Through this act, the British government had tried to introduce responsible government gradually in India, and it was observed that about 70% members were elected members in legislative assemblies. There was increment in the number of Indians in Executive Council to 3 among total of 8 members under this act. Central control over the provinces was relaxed by separating the central and the provincial subjects, but structure of governance was still unitary in nature. Provincial budget was separated from the central budget. The principle of communal representation was furthered to 6 Indian Christians, Anglo-Indians, and Europeans. The provincial subjects were divided into 2 parts, which implied the introduction of diarchy in provinces, under which there were 2 subjects transferred and reserved. Transferred subjects were managed by governor with the aid of ministers who were responsible to the Legislative Council, while reserved subjects were administered by the governor and his Executive Council. For reserved subjects, governor and his council were not responsible to the Legislative Council. Direct elections were introduced under this act, but only partial franchise. Such an universal franchise was based on the property tax, education, taxable income, and paid land revenue of Rs 3,000. Women were given right to vote in a limited manner. Central Public Service Commission was established in 1926 based on the Lee Commissions, which was covered under this Act of 1919. A new office of the High Commissioner for India in London, which was equivalent to the office of Secretary of State, was created under this Act. Simon Commission in 1927 was an outcome of the provision of setting up of a statutory commission at the end of 10 years after this Act was passed. This commission was entrusted to inquire the working system of the government. Thank you.